More than 2,000 years ago, someone in ancient China threw a hollow bamboo stalk into a fire. Seconds later, it exploded. There was no gunpowder, no fuse, and no weapon, only trapped air expanding inside the heated bamboo until the stalk burst with a terrifying crack. People believed the sound could drive away evil spirits, disease, and bad luck. That accidental explosion became the ancestor of the firecracker. But the real transformation began when humans discovered how to make that sound louder, deadlier, and bright enough to conquer the night sky. Centuries later, Chinese alchemists, searching for an elixir of immortality, mixed three ordinary materials: saltpeter, sulfur, and charcoal. They did not create eternal life, they created gunpowder. At first, the mixture burned with violent heat, smoke, and sparks. But when packed inside bamboo or paper tubes, it produced something far more powerful than the accidental crack of heated bamboo. Humans had finally learned how to trap fire, delay it, and release it on command. The discovery changed festivals forever, but celebration was only the beginning. Because the same formula that could frighten away evil spirits could also terrify soldiers, shatter defenses, and turn the battlefield into chaos. And once rulers understood that, fireworks stopped being only a ritual. They became weapons. Fire arrows crossed city walls. Clay bombs burst among soldiers. Primitive fire lances filled the darkness with flame, smoke, and panic. In the 13th century, Chinese defenders used explosive weapons against Mongol armies, including thunder crash bombs whose reports were said to shake the ground and terrify soldiers and horses. Gunpowder did not need perfect accuracy to change a battle. Sometimes fear was the weapon. Celebration and warfare now shared the same formula. The only difference was where humans aimed it. But China could not guard the formula forever. Soon, travelers, merchants, scholars, and conquering armies carried the secret westward, where powerful rulers would transform this weapon into something designed not to destroy their enemies, but to astonish everyone watching. Gunpowder was too powerful to remain China's secret. By the 13th century, written gunpowder formulas had appeared in the Islamic world and Europe. Scholars translated, copied, and modified the mixtures, while armies tested them in rockets, bombs, and early cannon. The secret did not move west in a single journey. It passed from hand to hand, language to language, and empire to empire. But it did not travel unchanged. Every civilization altered its ingredients, improved its strength, and found new ways to use it, from rockets and siege weapons to ceremonial explosions. The most valuable thing being transported was not the powder itself, it was the knowledge that fire could be measured, delayed, and controlled. When that knowledge reached Europe, kings recognized a possibility beyond warfare. Gunpowder could do more than destroy their enemies. It could make thousands of subjects look upward and witness the power of a ruler who seemed able to command the sky. In Europe, fireworks became more than entertainment. They became political theater. Kings ordered enormous displays for coronations, royal weddings, military victories, and the birth of heirs. Fire erupted above palaces, while thousands watched from below. The message was unmistakable. A ruler wealthy enough to burn the sky must possess extraordinary power on earth. These spectacles required rare materials, skilled craftsmen, and enormous expense. The larger the explosion, the greater the prestige. Fireworks allowed monarchs to turn gunpowder, the substance of war, into a public demonstration of control. Yet for all their expense and spectacle, these displays had one surprising weakness. The sky was still almost colorless. So how did humans transform a smoky explosion into a painting made of light? Iron filings could create brighter trails, while charcoal shaped the glow, but true reds, greens, and blues remained beyond reach. Firework makers worked without modern chemistry, relying on inherited recipes, dangerous experiments, and luck. Even worse, color was not their only problem. A shell might ignite too early, burst too low, or fail completely. The craftsmen could create explosions powerful enough to frighten armies, yet they still could not reliably paint the sky. The breakthrough would require more than stronger gunpowder. Someone had to discover that different metals carried hidden colors inside them, and learn how to release those colors without destroying them first. Firework making became a guarded family craft. Recipes were whispered from parent to child, never written where rivals could steal them. Craftsmen learned that a fraction too much powder could destroy a workshop, while too little produced only smoke. They adjusted shell thickness, fuse length, packing pressure, and launch angle, often through dangerous trial and error. A firework was not simply an explosive. It was a clock designed to work once, rise, delay, burst, and vanish within seconds. These families slowly learned to control when fire appeared and where it moved, but timing was only half the mystery. The next breakthrough would reveal that metals themselves were hiding colors invisible to the human eye. The colors of fireworks are not painted onto the flame, they are released from atoms. When metal salts are heated, their electrons absorb energy and leap into unstable states. As they fall back, they release that energy as light, and each element produces its own signature color. Strontium burns red. Sodium creates yellow. Barium produces green. Copper can create blue, while aluminum and magnesium generate brilliant white sparks. But blue became one of the hardest colors to perfect. Too little heat, and it appeared weak. Too much heat, and the copper compounds broke apart before producing the right light. Chemists had finally unlocked color inside matter. Yet color alone could not create a flower, ring, or heart in the sky. The next mystery was even more astonishing. How could an explosion be taught to hold a shape? Inside every aerial shell are small chemical pellets called stars. Around them sit a lifting charge, a timed fuse, and a central burst charge. The first explosion launches the shell upward. While it climbs, the fuse burns for a carefully calculated number of seconds. At the chosen height, the second charge ignites, throwing the stars outward as they begin to glow. That explains when the firework opens and why its colors appear. But this still does not explain the most astonishing part: how one explosion can become a ring, a flower, or even a heart. The answer is hidden somewhere inside the shell, but not in its color, its fuse, or the strength of the blast. That final secret will be revealed at the end. Every firework begins as a controlled accident, waiting for permission to happen. Inside workshops, a spark from metal, static electricity, friction, or even a dropped tool can ignite loose powder. One mistake can trigger nearby shells, turning seconds of error into an entire building of explosions. Many of the people who created history's greatest displays worked only inches from materials capable of killing them. The danger did not end at the factory. Shells could burst inside launch tubes, explode too low, or fall back toward crowds still burning. Governments responded with licenses, safety distances, storage laws, and strict firing zones. Yet fireworks survived every disaster and restriction, because nations discovered that no other spectacle could gather thousands of strangers, make them look in the same direction, and attach a single emotion to one moment. Soon, fireworks would stop glorifying only kings and begin speaking for entire countries. Across the world, the same explosion came to mean entirely different things. In China, fireworks welcomed the new year and drove away misfortune. In India, they became part of Diwali, celebrating light over darkness. In the United States, they symbolized independence and revolution. In Japan, summer fireworks reflected a quieter idea. Beauty can be powerful precisely because it disappears. The chemistry was the same. The meaning was not. A burst in the sky could represent luck, freedom, faith, victory, or remembrance, depending on who was watching. But as fireworks became global, another transformation began behind the scenes. The next generation of displays would no longer depend only on skilled hands. Computers were about to turn explosions into perfectly timed performances. Modern fireworks are no longer fired one by hand. They are programmed. Designers use computers to assign every shell a launch time, altitude, color, and burst pattern. Electronic firing systems can trigger hundreds of explosions within fractions of a second, matching each flash to music with extraordinary precision. What appears chaotic from the ground is actually a carefully written sequence, closer to a musical score than a random series of blasts. A single mistimed shell can ruin an entire pattern, but when everything works, fire seems to dance, pause, and explode on command. For the first time, humans could choreograph explosions with the precision of music. But greater control did not solve fireworks' oldest problem. Every beautiful display still leaves something behind. And that consequence is now forcing cities to reconsider what should fill the future sky. Fireworks now face a problem their inventors never imagined. The sky remembers what the audience forgets. After the final burst, smoke, metal particles, paper debris, and chemical residue remain. The noise can frighten wildlife, disturb communities, and worsen conditions in crowded cities. In response, engineers are developing low-smoke mixtures, quieter shells, cleaner chemicals, and computer-guided launches that use fewer explosives. Drone shows offer another possibility: reusable lights forming precise images without gunpowder. But drones cannot recreate the shockwave, heat, and sudden violence that make fireworks feel alive. So before deciding whether fireworks can be replaced, one final secret must be revealed. How does a sealed shell already know the exact shape it will draw in the sky? The shape of a firework is not created after the explosion. It is built beforehand, in darkness, inside the shell. Arrange the stars in a circle, and the burst can open into a ring. Build them in several layers, and the sky unfolds like a chrysanthemum. Place them in the outline of a heart, and the explosion can enlarge that hidden design hundreds of times above the crowd. Wind, rotation, and viewing angle may distort the result, but the pattern begins inside the shell. When the central charge ignites, it does not invent the design. It simply throws every star outward from the position it already occupied. That is the secret. A firework is a picture folded inside a sphere, designed on a workbench, carried into the sky, and revealed in a single violent instant. The explosion does not create the image. It makes the invisible design visible. Fireworks began with a bamboo stalk, cracking inside an ancient fire. From that accidental sound came gunpowder, weapons, royal spectacles, colored flames, and computer-controlled skies. Yet after 2,000 years, their power still depends on the same contradiction. Enormous effort creates something that disappears almost instantly. A firework may take days to build, seconds to rise, and only a heartbeat to vanish. Yet the moment remains, in photographs, in stories, and in the memory of everyone who looked upward together. That may be why fireworks still matter. They prove that something does not need to last long to become unforgettable.